Hello, Jessica Langenberg here with Leadership Resources for Accelerate, and I am super excited because today we have the opportunity to talk with Dan Cedor, who is our Strategic Growth Advisor, about the relationship between strategy and goals. So before we dive into all that, Dan, I just have to throw this out there. At our offices in Lincoln, Nebraska, the outward-facing wall is all frosted glass. And people will take the opportunity to write with dry erase markers. They'll jot notes or messages.
Or quotes.
Or
whatever,
quotes,
yeah.
But I couldn't help but notice that you have been dubbed the planner. Where do you feel like that reputation comes from?
Well, that's a great question. I wonder some days myself. Probably two different things that stand out. Number one, personally, over the years, I've learned that I really enjoy planning ahead, thinking ahead, and predetermining where I want to go with things. So I'm diligent in annual planning and then breaking down to a quarterly plan and a monthly plan and weeks at a time and then daily. And so I think that just people observe me checking out my plans and taking the time to do it. And the other piece is part of my job is working with organizations to help them plan the future. So I get the chance to deal with hundreds of organizations throughout the last number of years, and so I think that's also self-reinforced a little bit.
Absolutely. Makes sense. It's in your blood.
Something like that.
Now, I know your official title is Strategic Growth Advisor, but you are also a certified EOS implementer. Is that right?
Yes.
What exactly does that mean?
Well, let me start with what EOS means, because people are hearing this for the first time.
Yes.
What the heck is that new term? But EOS stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and it is a proven process with a variety of simple tools that help organizations focus on vision, traction, and healthy as an organization. And so I'm a part of 170 some implementers in the world that are learning this methodology. I'm trying to stumble through that. But the whole essence of it is it's around helping organizations become more, get more of the results they want, help leaders get more of what they want out of life, and it aligns perfectly with what we do at Leadership Resources.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, when a lot of us hear the word strategy, we tend to think kind of big guy in the corner office. We think planning processes, decision making that's happening way over our heads in a lot of cases. For those of us that might have a hard time relating to the word strategy, what is it and why does it matter to us?
Yeah. Well, let me start with what it's not. It's not the big guy in the corner office. It's not big ideas necessarily. I really believe if we stop and think about it, I mean, if you oversimplify strategy, you're trying to shoot for some type of a long-term outcome, and you've got to take actions to get there. Those actions are really a form of strategy for how do I move in that direction. Because often we don't know all the answers to get to the end goal, but at least we know we need to know to get started and get moving there. And that's the initial strategy, and then we adjust as we go. So again, I think we do it all the time, Jessica. I mean, if you stop and think about it, even there's strategy involved with planning vacations. You know, if you're thinking 6 months down the road to go to Mexico, you've got to decide what's your approach to that. Is it going to be one of those all-inclusive type of resorts? Is you going to go off on your own? Are you going to go into this event and actually have every day and every minute planned? Or are you going to go in there wide open and just kind of have it each day happen as it goes? And so all of those little elements are part of your strategy for this, hopefully this successful vacation. So, any human being on earth really does strategy. So it's not corporate, it's not a non-profit issue. Everyone does it. And I think if we stop and think about it, we're all doing it, just sometimes not realizing it.
Nice. That's a different way of thinking about it for sure. Now, I know when you're working with your strategic planning clients, you're working on setting goals, accomplishing goals, driving the results that really matter to them. From your perspective, what is the relationship between strategy and goals?
You bet. There's a lot of correlations to it, and what I'm about to say might even sound similar to what I said before, but the whole notion of goals is setting a period of time from here's where we're at and here's where we want to go, and just setting a target out there. And it could be a 3-month goal, it could be a 12-month goal, it could be a 3 to 5 or 10-year goal. So the whole notion of setting goals is setting some kind of a target of what we want to get to in the future, a predetermined location before we get there. And that's just goal setting. But when we do that well and we get clear about it, then it helps us figure out the path for getting there. What are the actions, the behaviors, and in some cases, the myriad of strategies and different things to get toward those predetermined goals. So that's, if I was to oversimplify it, that would be really what it's about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll be honest, as I'm hearing you talk earlier about planning and now about strategy and goal setting, one of the words that I keep hearing in my head is the word alignment. When you think about strategy and goal setting, what is the importance of alignment?
You bet. Well, depending on who you are. Now, keep in mind, if it's you and you're on your own, your alignment is exactly you. You're totally in sync with yourself because you're setting the path. The challenge is when we work in companies like Leadership Resources, where you and I work together, if we're working on a project together and we're working toward the same end goal, we have to make sure that my actions are consistent with your actions, and we're being as efficient as possible getting to that end goal. And there may be times where if we're misaligned, we might be wasting time, energy, resources, causing confusion, chaos, and a myriad of other issues. And so really, it's how do we make sure that we optimize our efforts to get there. And so, and again, keep in mind, with just two people going alongside, imagine an organization of 10, 50, or 100 people. Yeah. And you're ensuring people are in alignment, and that's where this EOS process we have referred to earlier is so powerful, and even the approach we take for our clients in customized strategic planning is powerful, is that it helps people identify some goals, and then as a team, as an organization, work toward those. And at least you have a chance for alignment to occur when people know where we're going. And so alignment starts with the leadership team being clear about where we're going, but it also is important for each individual to understand what's my role to help get there. What are my strategies, my tactics to help move us in the same direction.
I'm seeing that visual of like people rowing their oars together.
You bet.
Okay.
You bet. And then the one person that doesn't have an oar, or they have it on the wrong side of the boat, and it causes turmoil and confusion, and you lose momentum.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I have actually had the opportunity to work with Dan as a coach, and so I know that Dan is full of all sorts of good tips and tricks and tidbits.
I'm full of it, you're saying? Is that?
That's exactly what I'm saying. No. But I'm curious, Dan, if you had a best practice related to goals, goal setting, goal execution, or a best piece of advice for everybody, what would that be?
It's a loaded question. She knows there's 1,001 dynamics to goal setting and tactics to get there. If I was to oversimplify things and just step back from my experience over the years, just do it. I mean, just set goals. But it's not just setting them though. Is when you set them, be open to and willing to learn from your goals, because not every goal is going to work out the way you hoped, and some work out even better than you'd hoped. And so I think the important thing here, is if I was to offer up something, is set them. Attempt to predict your future before it happens. That's really what goal setting is. You're predicting your future. You're predetermining what it is before it's happened. So do it. Practice it. Try it. Experiment. And be okay with failing and learning along the way, because eventually, as you get better and better at it, it helps you predict things better and better. And so who doesn't want to be more in control of their future, more control of the day? So I would say just practice it.
I love it. I love it. One of the things, as I've been talking to some of our Accelerate clients, that I've been really focused on is the idea of not being afraid to edit a goal. Yeah. Edit, change behaviors, change attitudes if what you think you're tracking or working on isn't working for you. And I'm hearing that, I think, in some of what you're saying.
Well, and the thing about that, though, and here's what's important, and I've alluded to it in my message today, and that is when you're heading out toward a target, an end result, you have to be open to acknowledging that when you're and acting toward it. If you find that what you shot for is creating the wrong behaviors in you, and you're getting ready to give up on it and just stop, that's the worst thing to do, is to stick to that thing and go, I'm just going to quit then. Because your failure's only final when you quit.
Yeah.
And so the whole notion is, if you find your behaviors going in the wrong direction or a less desired direction, that's a cue to say you need to alter the goal. Because really, it is about doing the right kind of behaviors and the right kind of things.
Yeah, that's great advice. Great advice. Well, I know we've been very focused on offering some weekly webinars here recently, and we've been talking a lot about this idea of setting the right goals and getting things done. I'm curious if you have anything coming up that might speak to some more of the strategic planning content.
Yeah. Well, we've been doing a lot of research, and we're learning all the time through our clientele, and so we've come up with and identified the top 10 reasons why strategic plans fail. Okay. And as we're finding out today in this series, it's going to be a multi-part conversation. It's not a quick answer. And I think you'll see some threads of this coming back in, but there's going to be other dynamics that just when you deal with people, there's so many things to think about. So we're eager to do that here in the near future.
Awesome. We will be excited to see that.
Awesome.
Well, I sure appreciate your time this afternoon, Dan, and we appreciate you guys checking in and watching. If you like this video, if you like what we're doing, please be sure to like and follow the Accelerate page and check back regularly for those weekly webinars. We will talk to you all soon.